As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the vast cornfield, my heart quickened. My siblings and I huddled near the decaying, forgotten house at the field's edge, ready to play hide-and-seek tag. The crumbling structure loomed like a silent sentinel, its broken windows like eyes peering into our souls. I was it, and I counted to 10 while my brother and 2 sisters scattered into the field. The corn rustled ominously in the fading light as I set off in pursuit. The darkness closed in, and I felt the first shivers of unease. The wind whispered secrets, and the field seemed to come alive with sinister energy. The night swallowed us as I tagged my brother, his screams of surprise echoing through the corn stalks. My sisters, hiding nearby, giggled nervously. The game was reaching its climax when something changed. A low, mournful wail drifted across the field. The corn rustled again, but it wasn't my siblings. A sense of dread washed over me. I called out to my sisters, but only silence answered. Panic set in, and I tore through the corn, calling their names. My flashlight's beam revealed a horrifying sight. My sisters stood in a circle, their eyes vacant, staring at something unseen. In their hands, they clutched eerie, wilted flowers. Their whispers were like an incantation from another world. I tugged at their arms, but they were unresponsive, lost in a trance. That mournful wail grew louder, more desperate. I followed its source, feeling a presence lurking just beyond my sight. There, at the center of the field, stood a tall, shadowy figure, its form flickering in and out of existence. Its eyes were dark voids that seemed to swallow all light. It beckoned to me with a long, bony finger, its voice a haunting, otherworldly melody. I couldn't look away. In that moment, a powerful realization struck me. I was the only one left. My siblings were lost to this malevolent force, and I was next. With all my strength, I tore my gaze from the figure and sprinted toward the abandoned house. As I reached the safety of its decaying walls, I dared not look back. The mournful wail faded into the distance, and the cornfield returned to stillness. My siblings were gone, but I had survived. The image of that sinister presence haunted my nightmares, but it also carried a message. Be cautious when venturing into the unknown. The world holds mysteries that can ensnare even the most innocent games. Stay close to those you trust, and never let curiosity lead you astray, for the shadows may hide more than you can imagine. Growing up, I'd always heard stories about the silent house on the hill, a place where children dared not venture. It sat perched on a knoll, its dark silhouette haunting the countryside of South Carolina. My curiosity finally got the best of me one summer evening as my friends and I decided to play a game of flashlight tag. With flashlights in hand, we hiked up the winding path to the ominous house. As we approached, I felt an eerie chill in the air. The house looked abandoned, its windows shattered, and the wood siding weathered and peeling. But we were fearless, and the excitement of exploring the forbidden thrilled us. My friends scattered into the dark interior, beams of light dancing across the decaying walls. I stayed outside, shining my light on the overgrown garden, but something felt wrong. A strange hush had fallen over the place, as if the very air was holding its breath. In the distance, I heard my friends calling out to me, their voices tinged with unease. I rushed inside, joining their frantic search through the dimly lit rooms. It was then that I found a faded family portrait, its faces frozen in time, yet with eyes that seemed to follow my every move. As the minutes ticked by, the house grew colder, and our laughter turned to nervous whispers. We sensed we were not alone, and the suffocating dread intensified. I finally suggested we leave, but as we reached the door, it slammed shut, sealing us inside. Panic set in. Our flashlights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the cracked walls. A low guttural growl echoed from the depths of the house, sending shivers down our spines. We were trapped, and something malevolent was lurking in the darkness. One by one, my friends disappeared, their terrified cries fading into the abyss. I was left alone, trembling, my flashlight the only source of feeble light. The malevolent presence drew closer, its foul breath brushing against my neck. Just as all hope seemed lost, a blinding light burst forth, illuminating the room. My parents, who had been searching for us, had finally arrived. The sinister force retreated, leaving behind an aura of malevolence. As we fled the cursed house, I looked back one last time. In the glow of the departing headlights, I saw the family portrait, now marred by dark, sinister figures. I knew the house was never truly silent. It was alive with the tormented souls of its past. To anyone who stumbles upon the silent house on the hill, heed my advice. Stay away. Some places are best left undisturbed, for the horrors that lie within can scar your soul forever. The darkness that dwells there can consume even the bravest hearts. Be cautious, for the silent house is no mere legend. It is a nightmare waiting to claim its next victim. The sun hung low in the late summer sky, casting long shadows over the endless cornfields that surrounded our family's farmhouse. My siblings and I had spent our childhood exploring these fields, but on that fateful evening, the cornfields held a secret that would haunt us forever. It was a sweltering day, and we decided to play an extended game of hide-and-seek to pass the time. I was it, so I counted to 100 while my younger brother and 2 sisters scattered into the cornfield, the tall stalks whispering secrets as they swayed in the breeze. As I started my search, a growing unease gnawed at me. The rustling corn and the eerie cawing of distant crows created a disquieting atmosphere. The sun's golden hue began to fade, painting the sky in hues of crimson and violet, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. I stumbled upon my youngest sister first, crouched among the cornstalks, her face contorted in terror. She pointed towards the center of the field. "I saw someone," she stammered. "A stranger lurking out there." My heart raced as I ventured deeper into the maze of corn. I found my brother next, his face pale, eyes fixed on a strange figure standing in the distance. A tall, thin silhouette. It was cloaked in tattered brown rags that hung like a shroud. Its head was covered by a wide-brimmed hat, and it seemed to sway as if dancing to some unseen melody. Fear clawed at my throat as I approached the figure, my siblings huddled close behind. When I called out, the figure didn't respond. It just stood there, swaying in the dimming light, a silent sentinel in the midst of the corn. As we moved closer, the figure slowly turned to face us. Its face was a grotesque mask of decay, eyes vacant and empty. Our collective gasp hung in the air as its skeletal hand reached out towards us. We stumbled back, the terror too great to bear. In that moment, the figure vanished into thin air, leaving only the haunting memory of its presence. We fled the cornfield, our hearts pounding with a mixture of dread and relief. Years have passed since that eerie encounter, but the memory still haunts us. We've never been able to explain what we saw in the cornfield that evening, and we've never ventured there again. The lesson we learned that day is simple yet chilling. The rural heartland holds secrets far darker than we can imagine. When you explore the quiet fields and hidden places, beware of the strangers you might encounter. Some encounters are best left unexplained, and some secrets are better left buried in the cornfields. So, dear reader, if you ever find yourself in the rural heartland, be cautious of the uninvited guests in the fields. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some horrors are better left undiscovered.